Well, all road lead to the Yaba College of Technology, Yaba Tech, this weekend as the best of Nigerian athletes converge on Lagos for the second edition of the Making of Champions MOC Grand Prix. More than 300 athletes are expected to take part in the MOC Grand Prix, which is the second track and field championship to hold in the country this year. The competition is expected to provide opportunity for Nigerian athletes to secure qualifying time for the All-Africa Games later this year and the World Championships. It is also a preparatory competition to the National Selection Trials, which holds next week at the MKO Abiola National Stadium in Abuja. Joining us via Skype for this to discuss athletics is Bambo Akoni of the Making of Champions, the man who has a dream to take Nigerian athletes to the Tokyo 2020 Olympics. Glad to have you join us, Bambo.
Thanks for having me, Solomon, as always.
Yeah, how come this is just the second event this year for athletics in Nigeria?
Yes, well, it's a very difficult time for athletics in Nigeria because there haven't been competitions in the country. Normally, the Athletics Federation will have 4 or 5 competitions a year, but that hasn't been the case this year. And that was why we thought it was imperative that we brought back the MOC Grand Prix, because the athletes all over the country have been clamoring for the chance to compete. Let's not forget that the IAAF now has new world rankings, which will be the barometer to qualify for the Olympics and all international competitions after that. If you don't compete, you don't get ranked. So it's a really critical time for athletics in Nigeria.
Now, it was also looking like this wasn't going to happen, this MOC Grand Prix. With all the expectation of the first edition last year, how are you putting this together?
Yes, so thank you for asking. It's been challenging putting it together because of the dearth of sponsors supporting athletics in Nigeria. We felt that something just had to be done, and we've had an enormous response from the athletics community. We've had ex-Nigeria international athletes coming together to make sure that we could offer prize money at this event. So far, these ex-internationals, about 10 of them have come together to donate more than 700,000 naira as prize money for this competition, which matches what we gave for individual events last year. So it's shaping up to be really, really exciting. Over 500 athletes have registered. This is compared to 400 last year. And they're all on their way to Lagos, or in Lagos right now, waiting for the festivities to kick off tomorrow and Sunday. It is almost like a national trials for home-based athletes, because everyone is here ready to compete, looking for a competition to get those times for the African Games, get those times for the World Championships. One could even qualify for the Olympics next year. You just never know.
The National Open Trials is just next week. How convenient is this for athletes who will compete here in Lagos, and then next weekend they are in Abuja for the National Open Trials? How convenient is it for them?
Yes, so I think the National Open Trials have been set for perhaps 24th or 25th of June or so. I think we just got notice of that yesterday. It's just come up. I suspect that it's a trial to be used for, it is a trial to be used for selection for the African Games in August. Perhaps they might open up a camp as well in July, and that is why they're having these National Open Trials in a couple of weeks' time. However, let's not mistake it for the normal national trials, which already has been tentatively scheduled by the AFN for the end of July, around the 22nd, 23rd of July. And I suppose that might be the final selection for the African Games, maybe even the World Championships. That will be the one where international athletes can come down to Nigeria and compete against the home-based, but not this one.
Talking about the All-Africa Games and the World Championships, Divine Oduduru has qualified. What are the chances of other Nigerian athletes with very little competition? What are their chances of making it to securing the qualification time for the African Games and for the World Championships?
Well, I think the African Games is going to be more straightforward. There are several athletes in Nigeria who have already qualified. My athletes at Champions Track Club, 3 of them, Joy Udo Gabriel, Jerry Jakpa, Emmanuel Ojeli, have all hit qualification times for the African Games from the competitions we took them to in Botswana and South Africa in April. But this will only be the second competition in Nigeria, the second MOC Grand Prix this year, for most of the other athletes in Nigeria to hit those qualification marks. Like I said, the African Games is more straightforward. The World Championships will be more difficult to make. It's 10-1-0 for the men's 100, for example, 11-2-4 for the women's 100. So we're really looking at those times for this event this weekend at the Abatech Sports Complex.
All right.
To show whether these athletes in Nigeria can make those times for the World Championships. It's going to be a spectacle.
Thank you so much there, Bambo Akani of the Making of Champions. We are looking forward to a swell time at Yabatech this weekend.